Okay, so today I'm going to explain to you the importance of wrist angles in the backswing, basically in the entire golf swing. So by wrist angles, I mean what's your wrist doing as you're taking the club to the top of your backswing, okay? Because that will influence what the club face is doing when you strike the golf ball. And if it influences what the club face is doing, if it's open or closed during the strike, that's going to influence your starting direction, and that's going to influence the curvature you get on the ball. So that's a pretty huge influence it's going to have over your golf swing, okay? So what we're going to look at is, if we look at, I'm going to go straight down the line here, you get it, I'm going to explain to you the few different ones and what's the influence it's going to have, okay? If we get like Dustin Johnson's a nice, really bowed wrist here, and again, he's doing it because that's the way he swings the golf club and he has a lot of shaft lean. But if you look at his bowed wrist here, what that promotes is, as I come down, as you guys can see, that club face is going to be a little bit more closed and it's going to be a little bit more shut when I get into impact, okay? So have a look at that now. That's the bowed wrist, so I maintain that bowed angle all the way into impact. So to straighten that out, I need to have a little bit of shaft lean, but still, that's one way of doing it. The second way that we see quite often, and probably the most of, as I get to the top of my backswing, I have now a cupped wrist. Okay, now that cupped wrist, I'm going to slowly take it down to impact again. So as we go down, I pull down that handle, look at this club face. Now the club face is pointing to right for right-handed golfers, so it's open. Okay, so if you look at me from front on, if I come down here, you can see that club face is open. Okay, someone with a little bit of a cupped wrist, but just slightly, will be someone like Justin Rose. And again, if you want, you get also a really flat wrist at the back here, and that's when you get to the top here, you'll see your left wrist and your left forearm pretty much forms a straight line, someone like Tiger Woods. Now, there's no right, there's no wrong. All I'm trying to say here is that it will influence what the club is doing. So say, for instance, you're a guy that slices the golf ball, and you were trying for so long now to get that forearms rotating over, and it's just not working. You just can't get the timing right. It's probably not a bad idea to try and take the club a little bit more closed back. Now by closed, it's going to feel like the club is pointing more towards the ground as you start your takeaway. And you'll see now as I get to the top here, now you get that massively bowed angle at the top, okay? And what that will help and promote is keep that club face a bit more closed. So as you keep it bowed on the top, you need to try and maintain that angle as you go into impact. And that will get your ball going a little bit more to the left, okay? And vice versa. If you get someone that's really shut, club face really close, you can try and get a little bit more, maybe a little bit more flat to the left wrist or a little bit more cupped, and as you come down, try and maintain that angles. But every backswing kind of has to have a certain impact position. So if you have a little bit more bowed, to square the club face up, we have to a little bit more shaft lean. If you have a more cupped left wrist, you have to come down and try and get the club getting to the ball first, just to square the club face up. Okay, so it doesn't matter what you do, the importance of wrist angles is really important due to it influences what the club face is doing. Okay, and then from there on you can work out what you need to try and to achieve a starting erection, and it will also then influence your curvature. So when you're on the range next time and you have a look at your backswing, just look what is your wrist angles doing, and from there on try maybe manipulate it and try and test it out or experiment a little bit with different ones and see how the ball will then react.